We should be live here in just a second, but I'll give it a few seconds for start, and then we'll rock and roll. If anyone is tuning in live, feel free to let us know if you can't hear us or if we need to tune up anything or fix any of the audio quality stuff. But we are recording this as well, so if anything does break, don't worry, you can catch it later on demand. But anyways, welcome to BitCast episode 82 for the week of August 13th, 2020. I'm your host, Jake Martin, and in the studio this week, we have Landry Smith.
Jake, thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
Dude, I am so glad you're here, and I am sorry that we had such tremendous, just tech difficulties before this.
Dude, it was all on my side, so of course it's okay.
Yeah, it can't be expected that we have to know how to do everything. We're streaming, we're having to get mics set up, we're doing COVID stuff. You have to balance between rooms. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on for sure. But hey, we're here.
We're here.
And it only, it felt like 2 hours. It only took 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're live. We're living it up. This is great. So if anyone's tuning in, this is our first live podcast we've done in a hot minute. So thank you for tuning in if you are. It looks like we have 6 people watching right now anyway, so that's pretty cool. But with that, today, Landry and I are going to be talking about some pretty cool announcements that came out this week. The Xbox Series S and X, which is confusing already just saying that. And then Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is a pretty sick collection that just came out or got announced. And it'll be out this week, right? The 18th?
That's right, yeah.
Dude, that is so hype. I cannot wait.
And so close.
Oh, so close. But first, just a little bit of housekeeping. Be sure to leave reviews or write into us if you're watching live. Obviously, subscribe on Twitch or Facebook Live there if you want to see when we're going up next. If you want to leave a review, that'd be very highly appreciated. You can do that on iTunes or really any of the big podcast services out there, and I'll read off the review on our show, so that'll be kind of fun. The drink of the show today is a fun segment we have. Today I'm sipping on some Chick-fil-A Powerade, the best in the best in the biz.
What color is that? Is that blue?
I think it's all they have. I think they only ever have blue.
Okay, nice. I'm never a Powerade guy at Chick-fil-A. I got a little Terrapin Hopsecutioner here.
Ooh.
IPA. Yeah, it's like the 2 for $3.50 kind at the gas station by my house. So that's what I always go with.
Very nice. Dude, the IPAs mess me up sometimes, man. I drank one recently and I felt terrible. I don't know what happened, but I drank it and I did not feel good afterwards.
They're strong. You gotta tread lightly, but I really enjoy them. So
you gotta be a big, strong boy to be able to stomach it. So I respect that. Well, before we go into our topics, this is always a fun thing, and I have a fun one I want to talk about. But first, I want to know, Landry, what are you playing?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked. So I'm still playing Paper Mario, the Origami King. And I guess that's just an indictment on like where my life's at right now. I'm so swamped with work and the start back of school and Sawyer, my 10-month-old now. It's just, I don't have a lot of time to play games anymore. So I've been enjoying slowly walking through that game. And honestly, I'm glad that I have to play it so sparingly, because every time I play it, there's something that I really enjoy about it, and there's something that really frustrates me about it. And I think it's like a really great game, but there are so many battle systems and choices they made that I feel like are not that great. And I think they even knew it, like probably way too far in development to make any changes, because there are more ways than I've ever seen before to avoid battles, like avoid a system that they spend a lot of time and is like a core crux of the game. And it almost feels like the designers want you to avoid battles.
Yeah.
So it's a strange thing, and I think they're good. I think it's fun, but it should be used way more sparingly than it is. It should not be a main core mechanic, because it's just too much.
Well, because the main reason for going into battle in the first place is to just get coins to, I guess, buy collectibles and maybe accessories, but like those are also super sparingly like set around the world. So you don't, there's never accessories easily available. So you have like 40,000, 50,000 coins from battling people, and you have nothing to spend them on, and you're just like, well, okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and one thing I respect about the game is I feel like, with their design philosophy, it kind of mirrors Nintendo's. They want to do something new and try something new, and it may not always succeed, but they definitely did. And they don't go with the leveling system, but they do have like a weapon implementation system that's almost the same thing.
Right.
Like as you proceed through the game, you're going to have more health, almost like in a Zelda fashion, and you're going to get better weapons. But it doesn't feel like it clicks. So I think they're onto something with like getting away from the numbered level system. Like that doesn't have to be a thing to make a game enjoyable. And Zelda does a great job at showing that concept.
Right.
But they just have to figure it out for Paper Mario. I think it's not there.
I think had they chosen to go with a traditional RPG system where you're getting experience for combat, I think that would have been the game changer right there.
Yeah, it really would have made the game better, I think.
Yeah.
On this go round. But I just want to restate that I really respect that they refuse to rely on that crutch. And I think it's good for game designers to have the freedom to do that.
Right. Yeah. So one of the other things that I am playing, or actually, how close are you to being done with Paper Mario?
I've got 4 ribbons done.
Okay.
And I'm moving on to the 5th one.
4 out of like 5, or how many are in there?
I think there's 5 streamers, but there's like 6 warp pipes to get to 6 different worlds. I may be wrong about that. So I feel like I've got like 2 areas left. I'm like in like the heaven area right now. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely played through that game more quickly than like you're saying. You spaced it out a bit, so I played through very quickly. But even still, that like the same thing you said about combat held through. But I really think it has a nice bow at the end, no pun intended, with all those ribbons. Like it really does like finish up nicely. And so I'd encourage you to, yeah, I mean, it's worth playing through for sure to finish up.
I really like the game. Like I would give it a 7. And earlier on in the game, before I got kind of tired of the system, I was all 4 and 8. Like there really is. I'm not even joking. Every time I play, it's like it exceeds expectations in certain areas, but then you have to drag through those battles as well.
Yeah. Yep. That is the unfortunate part of just bad design, but it's it's cute in its own ways.
Certainly.
I have been playing Spiritfarer. Have you seen this game?
Oh yeah. It seems like right up my alley, and I'm sure I'll get it eventually, but please tell me your thoughts.
Okay, so Spiritfarer is wonderful. It is so relaxing, very it's a lot more of a building game, like resource game than I thought it was going to be initially. So I was kind of surprised to see how deep it actually is. Like there's a lot. It takes a while to beat this game. Because I was like, oh, I'm kind of blowing through this and getting all these cute people on my boat, these little animals, and I'm taking them to the spirit world to help them die or help them pass into the whatever the next stage of life is for them. But the game is so great, man. Like the music's beautiful in it, the art style is very interesting, and it's so sweet. You have this ability to be able to hug the animals, and that's like one of the things you have to do, and it's so nice. Like it's such a weird. It's such a weird mechanic, but it's so endearing and so sweet. Like every single time you hug one of the little animals, like they make a nice little like oh noise, and I love it. I love it. I highly recommend it.
Nice, man. Yeah, I will definitely pick that up at some point. That reminds me of a game that I did play a couple weekends ago, and I just sunk a quick 2 hours into it. You could beat it easily in that amount of time, and that's a short hike.
Yes, Matt was talking about this.
$7.99 on the eShop, and it is like the easy comp is Animal Crossing, just because they're all like tiny little animals that live on an island.
Right.
But it feels more like combatless, like Breath of the Wild, where you're just kind of exploring this island, and it's a very compact space. It's not a game you can sink dozens and dozens of hours into, but it's just everything that is there is wonderful, and it's $7.99 full price. So
Not bad at all.
There's just no excuse not to do it, because it really is one of those games that is just so cute and wonderful and charming. And I just really, it gave me the feeling like that, just kind of content, wonderful feeling of Animal Crossing or
Nice.
Stardew Valley, but in a short, succinct space. And I think I think we've talked about this before, like as a, somebody, for you, like coming up close on 30 and me already cleared that hurdle a while ago. It's just nice to have a 2-3 hour game and not have to sink dozens and dozens of hours into something to really get the full experience. So
right, you finish up and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, I beat it. I've gotten that experience, and now I can move on or do whatever I want to next.
Yeah, and it's got hooks enough to where like I played it and I played it pretty good. Like I didn't 100% it, but I got like pretty way far through it, and then Liz was in the room and I wanted to show it to her, so I just restarted it and played through it a second time. So.
Dang. All right. Well, hey,
good.
Short Hike, Spiritfarer, and Paper Mario. It's all good games. And we have some more coming towards us here pretty soon. So I guess moving on now, we are going to talk about the main topic of the show. So Xbox Series X and S. I have a quick little spec sheet here. So this was interesting. So have you seen any how this was announced? Did you see how this all sort of came to be?
Yeah, and I was like, really, it was a great move by Xbox, I think. Like somebody just kind of leaked it late at night, and then at like 3 a.m. Xbox tweets out this photo. It's like a meme basically of someone looking like, oops, you got us. And then they basically confirmed all of the specs, and everybody in the video game industry was like, oh man, you had to do that at 3 a.m. It's crazy.
It just sucks. Like the age of the internet is they're whoever is out there getting these leaks and pushing them out, you're not really serving anybody by doing that. It is cool that you have early access to that information, but it just sucks for Xbox and everybody else that is trying to keep a lid on these kinds of surprises.
And to be honest, I think it is worse for the fan experience too.
Yeah.
Rumors are fun, and we're going to talk about a theory. It's not really a rumor, but a theory that I have later.
One of your rumors.
But I'd rather theorize and speculate with some kind of evidence as a super fan of something,
right,
than get something spoiled to me. Especially some of these video game companies, I feel like they reveal their stuff in really cool ways for us. For video game fans, so it is annoying to have those things spoiled.
Yeah.
But I thought the way Xbox played this off was nice, and a cool way to do that.
Yeah, they're basically all right, cool, secret's out. Here's what you need to know about it. So real quick, it's launching November 10th, which is pretty cool. So we have an official date now for the next generation of Xbox. And then also we have 2 SKUs. So yes, the Series S, which we knew was maybe rumored. Sorry if you can hear some vibrations in the background. The garage door is open below me. But $299 for the Xbox Series S and $499 for the X, which is the more powerful one. And then talking about specs, just real quick, the differences between the CPUs. Both have 8-core CPUs, though the X has a slightly higher maximum clock speed of 3.8 gigahertz, whatever that means. Both support expandable storage up to 1 terabyte, and both output over HDMI 2.1, which I didn't know was a thing until today, when I was reading this article. Both are backwards compatible. Both support hardware accelerated ray tracing, and then the other one real quick. So the Series X is targeting running games at 60 frames per second at 4K resolution, while the Series S will instead target a lower 1440p resolution at 60 frames per second. So that is a big difference in terms of resolution. But other than that, and obviously having the disk drive, the Series S seems like it's actually pretty on par with what the Xbox Series X is offering. So what are your thoughts about this? I don't know. I'm impressed with the Series S more than I am with the X.
Yeah, I am as well. When I saw the price difference, it really kind of opened my eyes, because I'm a PlayStation guy. PlayStation and Nintendo have been kind of my 2 consoles since the 360. I had a 360, but it red ringed on me 4 times, and I just gave up on it. But I think that the S offers a big advantage for families who want to buy a system for their children, who are just going to be interested in like Fortnite and maybe like Apex Legends and a couple other games. And that's just going to be a wonderful place for them to, that'll be a great ecosystem for them to get in. And maybe, you know, they get Game Pass and discover some other things.
Right.
But then, you know, you've got the Series X for people probably more like me, who, if I was to buy an Xbox, I'd want something with physical media that I could buy games on and eventually hope to collect for. And I don't know. I know that they're backwards compatible, but I don't know if they're backwards compatible with physical media on Xbox or if it's just digital downloads. Do you know the answer to that?
The Series X might. Let's take a quick look. I was just reading about the backwards compatible. Both are backwards compatible with thousands of Xbox One, 360, and original Xbox games.
Which, I mean, if it's an Xbox game, it's going to be on Game Pass, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a big, other than Fable, and like I have a soft spot for Halo 1 and 2, but you know, I kind of fell off the series after that. But.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything about backwards compatible with discs and stuff, but obviously I think I'm downplaying how strong the Series X is. The Series X is definitely much more powerful than the Series S, but for me, kind of like what you're saying, I am also a PlayStation and Nintendo guy, and for me, I care more about games. And seeing that $300 price point, I'm like, okay, if I had Xbox Game Pass and I just had the Xbox Series S, that's a great like next gen system that allows me to access any pretty much Xbox first party title that I might want to play or check out, and other games that are on there that I don't have to pay a Switch tax on. So the last podcast, Mark Erickson and I were talking about this. He wanted the Game Pass specifically because he was tired of paying for Switch games that like were way cheaper on other consoles. And like Spiritfarer was an example, and that was actually included in Game Pass.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's huge because I mean that's I think it's 20 or is it 25 on Switch?
Yeah,
do you know?
I think it's 20 to $30 on Switch. And I mean it's free on, not free, but it's, you know, it's included with Game Pass, so you can play that right there and everything else that comes with it. So there's a huge
and I remember hearing Mark say like, and I've seen this a lot, like you can shop deals for Game Pass and get like 3 months for extremely cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And even a year. Like when they first launched it, it was like a year for $1,
Yep.
which was just crazy. So they're really trying to push that out and get everybody in that ecosystem in some way. And I respect it. And I think I would way more be interested in the indie games. There have been 3 first-party titles on the Xbox One that I was like really chomping at the bit to play, and Switch afforded me the pleasure of playing 2 of those: Ori and the Blind Forest and Cuphead. The other one that I really would love to play, just because I'm a huge Insomniac fan, is Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's ever going to leave Xbox. So at some point I'll double down. Probably Fable will get me. You know. I don't know. Maybe I will buy the $300 one, but we'll see.
Who knows? Yeah. But all in all, I'm impressed. And then also this week we'll be hearing from Sony if about their next price, I'm assuming, and reveal and their date reveal. So hopefully we'll have a pretty good stack this upcoming week to know what our next generation is going to look like. And I don't know, man. That price drop is going to be a big part. I really don't think PlayStation is going to be able to compete on that price level of the 300 at least. I know the 500 sounds about right for what they would charge for the PS5, and maybe the discless would be like 400, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Xbox is selling the Xbox S at a loss. Mm-hmm. No one knows for sure, but it seems like they are.
Yeah.
And PlayStation's going to have to commit to that.
Yeah. It's good for us.
I don't know if they will.
Good for the gamers, I guess.
Definitely a good consumer move. Yeah, for sure.
And nothing to do right now except play video games. So I guess it's a good move right now, really, just to get out there and try something different. See if you can get people to buy your console. But that's really it.
Yes.
I just wanted to talk about that. I'm excited. And then, we have some more coming down this week. So stay tuned. We'll talk a bit more probably about that on next podcast to see what PS5 does or Sony does. And
And
so,
you mentioned real quick, sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned HDMI 2.
Yeah.
And I was literally just thinking like a few days ago, like, I'm so thankful that an HDMI port has not changed in what seems like a decade, because I was hooking up the old Super Nintendo the other day, and I have two different hook ends, and I'm really not even sure what they're called. It's like, I think one's a RGB cable where you plug it into like the little cable thing on the back of your TV.
Yep.
And then there's one with like the red, yellow,
I remember this.
White cords as well. And each Nintendo console, from the Super Nintendo to the NES, has both those hookups. And if you ever lose one, it can be a real pain to track down.
Got to go on Amazon and shop some janky ones.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just nice. Everything's an HDMI port now, so I'm a little bummed to hear that HDMI 2 exists and they're going to change that up.
Well, I'm trying to read right now and see if if we actually do need to worry about 2.1.
Like, is it just the same exact hookup? It's just a faster connection and probably like a more expensive cable, which would be totally cool with me.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. I think it's almost the same connection. It's just a faster cable.
And that's totally, I'm cool with that. That'd be so much better.
They're exactly the same physical connectors. The only difference is the improved bandwidth and resolution that they can carry. Okay, so we're good.
Nice.
We're good.
Yeah, 100% awesome.
Now, my only concern is, do you need to have an HDMI 2.1 port that would actually be able to allow you to like benefit from that? Probably, but
which would, I'm assuming those, like, if you have a 4K television, that would be involved in that. But this TV behind me is 10 years old, and it's like at the dawn of the flat screen, widescreen, HDMI era. It's got two HDMI ports, so for the longest time, it was impossible to, enjoy that TV in the living room.
And I don't have a 4K TV either, so I mean, we're. It's funny that we're like gamers, but we don't really have like the most up to date tech yet for a lot of these things.
Dude, gotta live on a budget, man.
Gotta be responsible gamers, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So now, moving on to the most exciting announcement this week that I really wanted to walk through, and I'm excited to hear some of your theories that you have. So Nintendo, this is a weird one. They like, again, in the age of COVID, and I think just everyone being inside, like everyone's just like randomly dropping information because either they have to or they're just like, whatever, we'll just put it out there because we don't have time to like put together a production to make this. So we'll just put the news out and people can watch it. So like I think they released this like just in the morning. They just like let the trailer go, and there was a lot of really like pretty big stuff that got announced in this direct. So it was Mario's 35th anniversary, but they announced all kinds of stuff. So going through this list really quickly, let me pull this up. I want to make sure I get this right. So it's Mario 3D All Stars. It was the Mario Kart VR or AR game. It was a collection of the Mario games coming to Nintendo Switch Online service. And then the Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Like special edition, cool little handheld guy. Am I missing anything?
And then, my probably like second favorite announcement was Super Mario 35.
Oh yes, the Battle Royale-esque.
The Battle Royale, like via the same like interface as Tetris 99, and you just have 35 players playing what looks like the NES Mario Brothers. Yes. But every time you kill an enemy, it drops that enemy onto somebody else's screen.
Yes.
So I just love that game. I love I don't speedrun it per se, but I like to casually speedrun it, see how fast I can get through it.
Yeah.
And that'll just be fun. I think that I might actually be like somewhat good at it, whereas Tetris 99 I'm garbage at. So
yeah, Tetris is really hard. There's some very good Tetris people out there.
There are. Ryan Darling, who was on our Last of Us podcast, he's pretty good at Tetris. Not me.
I could see that. I was most impressed with the Mario Kart AR in real life like video game. I thought that was so cool. So you play on your Switch, but it has a camera. There's an actual physical toy that has a camera attached to it, And what that does basically is it creates like an AR video stream that goes to your Switch, and it allows you to like play Mario Kart in real life in your house with like a friend or something like that. So in game on your Switch, like if you throw a shell at somebody, it hits them and it slows their cart down physically in real life, and then you can like pass them, and you can make little like loops and rings around your house. And I was like, this is
Dude,
so dope.
it's so cool. Like I mean, to be honest, it doesn't appeal to me as an adult.
Yeah, I won't buy
but
it.
it appeals to like the inner child in me, and like if I could have had this when I was growing up, I mean, that is the coolest thing ever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little pricey. I don't even know that we know the price of it, but there's a placeholder on Best Buy from what I've seen for $99, which honestly, I've heard some people complaining about that. Like to me, I was thinking it might be like 150. So I'm pretty okay with that. I mean, you're getting like the actual, there's got to be like some kind of AR technology and like a camera that's like sensing things in the car. There's got to be quite a bit of tech involved in this. So if it is actually $100, I think that's actually a reasonable price point. And, you know, if it gets reviewed well and there's actually like a game inside there, like a Mario Kart game, I might swing for the fences and pick it up.
The problem is you just need somebody else to also buy the game. And like maybe the starter pack comes with 2 cars. Like that would be amazing, but I doubt it. I think it probably just comes with
I don't think it does. Yeah, I think it's you're paying $100 for one cart from what I understand, and a download only game.
Oh, so it's download only.
You don't get I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think you get a physical cartridge. So
dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm same as you. Like inner kid me, like Matt Inseman texted me and he was like, bro, this is gonna be huge around Christmas. I feel like just like so many families like lining up to buy like a cool toy for them. Like the idea of setting up your own racetrack in your house is so cool. I was like, this is a really creative idea that I honestly I'm surprised. I mean, I know Nintendo's a toy maker, like they're a toy company first, but it was cool to see them really kind of stick with that and pull something out like this.
I'm almost surprised, and I feel like they maybe could have sold more units if this wasn't attached to the Switch.
Yeah.
Like if there was somehow that you could use this on your phone, or even do it like screencast it onto the TV some way. But I mean, shoot, there's like 65 million Switches out there now. So what does it matter? You know, anybody who has wanted a Switch has one. So
they might, and I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe tried to port it over to a phone eventually, and we're like, hey, this is available on the phone too now. You can download it, and maybe that's why it's download only.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. The Super Mario 3D World is also revealed, and that's coming to Switch, and it's coming with Bowser's Fury, which is cool. I thought that was a nice announcement. I'm probably not going to pick this up because I liked Mario 3D World, but I didn't like it that much. I was like,
oh man, I loved it. I thought it was great. Did you get to play it with any kind of multiplayer situation?
Yeah. We did some of the multiplayer stuff together. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was really good. But I mean, I cleared it through single player. I never 100%ed it though. That last level got the best of me. So that has been hanging in the back of my mind for like 4 years. So I'm excited for it to come to Switch, and I can finally topple that just hellacious last level.
Hellacious.
It really was.
Yeah, I remember 100%ing the game and being pretty frustrated by the end of it. But the Bowser's Fury stuff looks pretty cool, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if that turns out to be, you know, a pretty significant size expansion, maybe that'll sway your opinion.
Yeah, maybe. But the other reason I probably won't be playing it is because the big thing that we were all waiting for got announced, and that was the Super Mario 3D All-Stars got finally officially announced after many, many months, and maybe almost felt like a year of speculation.
It was like March is when the rumors were like all but confirmed, right? I mean, we had, I think I texted you and I was like, listen, this video game website is like created by former Rare developers, like they're industry insiders, and they're also brand new. Like they're staking their journalistic reputation on the line like for this. And then the fact that it leaked from like 5 different places around the world all at once, it was like, okay, this is a thing.
This is real. This is actually happening.
This is definitely a thing. When are they going to announce it? And it was just like, I felt like Nintendo was punishing us, like the fans. And I know they weren't. I understand that COVID happened. Because there were rumors that their E3 was going to be like centered on this, and there was going to be an orchestra on the floor for the announcement and stuff. But you know, I'm so glad that it is a thing and that we got to see it. And the best thing, I texted you immediately. I was like, dude, it's out 2 weeks, and just like, I mean, that was the
crazy,
actual, like, wonderful announcement about it.
I cannot believe that they pushed it out so quickly. I mean, obviously that's why the rumors came out in March. Like it probably was ready for an E3 announcement, and they were just like, maybe not yet. Like maybe we're not ready to like release it just yet because we want to do something. We want to just hold back a little bit on this. But so 64, Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy, just the first one. I will probably only play Sunshine and Galaxy. I don't really know if I have a desire to go back to 64 because I've played that recently.
Oh, nice.
But I'm a little shocked, and this is like what the consensus is around. Like I'm not as down on this as a lot of people are. Like I think it's amazing. I'm going to get it, but like I think it's odd that they didn't like they were. I think unfortunately like the verbiage around this was like, oh, it's going to be a remaster. But it wasn't. It was. It's just like they almost are like ports of the existing games. Like I don't really see like a graphical increase. Maybe a little bit on like some of like the 64 stuff, but like the camera is still the same.
It does. Yeah, I mean, at least as far as we know. But like, it just depends on your definition of a remaster. Like to me, these games play perfectly. And I mean, I'm speaking from someone who's not necessarily looking through rose-tinted glasses. I guess I am, but like I've played these games in the past 5 years, all three of them, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed them. Now, do they have things that age them? Absolutely, but I think you can get around it pretty easily. And it's even to the point to where like you can get skilled at using like the weird camera at Mario 64 or with Super Mario Sunshine. Like actually there are some parts of that game that are just really bad. That like not bad, but like they're just like extremely tedious and annoying and like extremely frustrating.
Right.
So if they didn't clean up some of those challenges, I don't know that I'll ever 100% that again. But Galaxy is just amazing.
Yeah, it's almost perfect. That orchestrated soundtrack.
Oh, it's so good, so good. And I honestly haven't played that since and it's been probably a little more than 5 years. So
yeah, we played it in college all the way through. My roommate he played all the way through it, and he got 120 stars. It was a pretty fun. It was like fun watching him play back through it again. And I think we did the same thing for Galaxy 2 as well. So
nice. Galaxy 2's end game is crushingly long.
Yeah,
but Galaxy 1 was not near as bad to complete. I don't feel like, at least in my memory. But I was also younger then, so
things were a little harder then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, I understand, have a theory about the All Stars collection, or is this where your rumor is going to come in?
Yeah, I guess it's a rumor. It's more of a theory, and I've been kicking it around for like basically since it was announced.
Right.
And I've seen some people mention this on the internet literally today, but I hadn't really seen anybody talking about it before. So I was like really stoked. I was telling Jake, because we were planning on doing this podcast earlier, and I was like, man, I'm excited. I've got this theory and I've got some evidence. And I was like, it's like a Super Bowl take. It's not going to happen, but like, let me lay down why I think it's going to. And it's that Super Mario Galaxy 2 is actually a part of the collection. And the few reasons that I have are, okay, first reason, the very first announcement in this Direct was the Super Mario handheld. What's that called again? You just mentioned it.
It was the Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Handheld.
Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Handheld. And it comes with the Lost Levels, which is basically like an expansion to the original Super Mario Brothers. The last announcement of this features like, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but Galaxy 2 is basically an expansion to Galaxy 1. And we know this because of the wonderful columns like the Iwata Asks that Iwata used to do back when he was the CEO of the company. In like 2010, he did a number of them on Super Mario Galaxy 2. And he basically laid out that Miyamoto, right after Galaxy 1 launched, was like, we got to do a second one. And he approached the team, and they were all kind of like ho-hum on it, to be honest. Like right at first, they were like, I don't really want to do this. But he kind of convinced them, okay, why don't we just do an expansion or like a Super Mario Galaxy 1.5? And that's what the project started out as, was just a 1.5. But the development for that game was actually like notoriously not that great. And there were some disgruntled employees at Nintendo because it kind of, I don't know for sure about this part, but I feel like it kind of cuts against their design philosophy, and that, especially with the Mario franchise, other than the new Super Mario Brothers, but they're with the 3D Mario franchise, they're always trying new ideas out. And you could see that in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. Like 64 is so much different than Sunshine. Sunshine's so much different than Galaxy.
Odyssey is so much more different than Galaxy.
I think internally, Super Mario Galaxy 2 might still be thought of as like this expansion concept that's not too far off from the original.
Yeah.
But then today, or really it was Saturday, I was watching Nintendo Minute, which is like this almost like children's show for Nintendo fans. I don't know if you've seen it before. It is Nintendo produced. Like it's a actual Nintendo thing. They come out with it, I think, weekly. It's like Kit and Krista, and like it'll be on your Switch homepage if you check it every week. They're showing Super Mario 3D All-Stars title screen for the first time, and the home screen music is Super Mario Galaxy 2's home screen music.
Wait a minute.
It's not from any of the other ones. And this is like the internet has discovered this as well. And so now theories are going
crazy
left and right. Yeah. But I think, this could mean a few things. First, nothing at all, because Nintendo likes to toy their fans. There's no way this is a mistake, though. The title screen has Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and then all three of the soundtracks back to back to back. And the Super Mario, the title screen music that launches is like the remix version from Galaxy 2. There's no way that was an accident. The music is literally in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Titled and everything. Another thing this could mean is that Galaxy 2 will be, and this was right when this launched, I like tweeted this. I was like, this collection will come out for $59.99, and then Galaxy 2 is going to come out right at the holiday for $19.99. So I could definitely see that happening, and that being like an add-on to it. But I genuinely think that there is a chance that Galaxy 2 will just be on the cart and not right at the beginning, but like unlockable.
Yeah.
And I think it might even be embargoed. Like I'm not going to not believe this until I get the package in my hand on that day, because I think it'll be embargoed if it is until launch day.
Yeah.
But I think like people have been saying on the internet, or at least I heard one YouTuber today talking about that music and saying, like, people who think that this is going to be on here, you're absolutely insane. That would be stupid. I kind of don't think so. Like, I think that you launch this game with 2 weeks of marketing, and then reviewers get a hold of the game and they have this secret that they have to hang on to, but that might like project scores a little higher.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole nother like game that has a 97 on Metacritic hidden in the package. And what a pleasant surprise that would be to be one of the first people to discover that. And then it is also kind of like an old school thing as well.
Like a lost level.
Something,
like, oh, this is just here.
Something from like the Melee generation of like having to unlock characters and stuff like that. Just a really cool throwback to the generation that these games were kind of a part of. And then my last little like piece of information, if you look at the title screen that they released in the Nintendo Direct, it's got all three games, and there's like a hole that's a perfect size for another game. and then it's got the same exact logo font, but then you look at the cartridge that or like the actual cartridge on like that's going to be on retail shelves, and that's not there. So I'm just thinking, and this is actually really important as well.
There's a lot of missing
I forgot
pieces. You've got all of this figured out.
Dude, this is the other big point, and this is actually why I started thinking about it, and why like I was like, well, that's really weird. It's 2020. Mario Galaxy 2 came out in 2010, so it's the 10-year anniversary. And during the Mario medley, where they're like celebrating Mario's history, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is not in it. That was not a mistake.
That was like, intentional, leaving it out.
That's a calculated move, and they knew that Mario fans were going to see that and be like, and not necessarily think like what, but like probably even be like disappointed or pissed off. I mean, they might just be playing games and not really care. But like, I mean, obviously I wasn't angry because I'm not childish, but like I was just like, what? Why would they do that? Like, why would they just
That's surprising.
leave that out? So then I just started thinking about all this stuff, and I was like, it's a possibility. I think that the most likely possibility is that it will be DLC, but I think the most fun way to think about it is that it will be just kind of an unlockable add-on at the end when you meet certain requirements. And it would be even cool if, like, say you beat 64 and you get a little message from the princess that says like, keep going, there's a secret at the end of something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it could be really cool.
That would be so sick. I like your idea. I like the idea of it. Yeah, it's definitely a much more fun idea than having to pay $20 for Mario Galaxy 2 to be part of the collection. But
for sure,
you're right. I could see them doing really either.
And I mean, the other like big thing against it is that Video Game Chronicle release basically said, it was going to be the first 3, but if they were going to keep this close to the chest, I'm sure that wouldn't have gotten leaked out at the end. So
yeah,
who knows?
Nintendo's a little bit better at keeping things under lock and key. So I'm sure if they are going to be the ones to surprise anybody, it'll be them. So not surprising, but yeah, I'm excited about this. I mean, we'll know in a week if it's on there or not, and if they do have plans to release it, I'm sure we'll figure that out soon after.
Right.
But did you read that it is it's only available for like a certain amount of time? Did you read about this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I being a kid raised on Disney, this is no foreign concept to me.
The Vault.
The Disney Vault, yeah, from the 90s. And even in their DVD era in the early 2000s. Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of sucks, but I also don't think it's near as big of a deal as everyone's making it out to be. Like, this is a play to make people buy more right up front. And I think it's not a desperation play. Nintendo's not desperate. They're like swimming in cash right now. But I think it is a strategy for them to show investors that like this game that they sold was like an actual holiday power game. Because I mean, I was on IGN's comments the other day, and they're like, people like, oh yeah, I'm buying up 4 of these because they're going to be so rare. It's like, dude, this is limited release. They're not going to be short on quantity. I know that Amazon sold out of pre-orders, but I went in like 4 days after and pre-ordered on GameStop.
Yeah, I don't think
they were fine.
I don't think people are gonna have a hard time finding a copy of this. And then can you download it digitally? Is that a thing? I'm assuming you can.
You can.
So,
and I mean, the other thing is like, say they do sell out, they're going to replenish stock, and they're going to have this on the shelves. You'll probably be able to buy it all the way into the summer. It's just they're going to stop producing them and stop making more by March, probably before March. But I mean, I don't see this being an incredibly rare game, and a game, even if you came to the Switch in like 2022, that you couldn't seek. Now, you may have to pay $80 for it just because the market might shift a little bit, but it's not going to be one of those things that's going to be like $200 to grab. And scalpers, I mean, the market's not going to let this thing climb super high. Yeah. Because, even I bet 20 years from now when Switch is collectible, this is going to sell, probably over 8 million copies. And one of those games that's like $40.
I could see it selling more than that, honestly. But
I think it will too. I was going conservative. I think it's probably going to be in the 12 mil range.
yeah, that sounds about right. But to your point, I think one of the interesting things about this too is it reminds me a lot of the Legend of Zelda remasters, or the master, what are they called, like the Master Quest discs that they released for GameCube.
And GameCube, yeah.
What do they call
it
that?
Was a pre-order. It was a pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
For Wind Waker. I really don't know. I know I had it as a kid.
I feel like it was, for some reason Master Quest sounds right, but it also doesn't sound right at the same time.
Well, it had Ocarina of Time Master Quest, which is the first time Master Quest was ever released in the United States.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. And then Majora's Mask, and I think the OG Legend of Zelda and Link to the Past. It was like an absurd value.
Yeah, it had a bunch of Zelda games in it, but it was also only available for a short amount of time. Like you could only get that in like a certain window, basically, and then it was gone. And it was a pre-order bonus. So it's not the only time they've done this, and it is effective at getting people to like make an action or take an action on something. And truly, I think this couldn't have come at a better time, because I mean, if you listen to the last podcast, Mark and I were kind of in like a, we're super entitled for sounding like this, but I was like, Nintendo really hasn't released something like big recently, and it's been kind of a bummer. We've wanted something to kind of get us excited and get us back on the Nintendo train, because like I said, I've been playing mostly indies or anything on my PlayStation right now. I've been trying to finish up Persona and other stuff. So, the Switch hasn't had my attention for a minute, and all of a sudden they dropped the remasters, and this is a great way to jumpstart their fan base again. And then hopefully they continue that like into the holiday season. So it's like, here we have this in September, October, there's this, November, there's this, and then they close out with something cool right before Christmas or something like that. And then,
Yeah, well, they basically announced their November game is that Zelda Warriors, the Breath of the Wild prequel, cool. But it's like a Warriors game, but it's also been a lot, closer in-house than, it's not just Bandai Namco, or I can't remember who, it's not Bandai Namco who develops those, it's some Tech Moist something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't play those games.
Muso games.
But I will play that one because I'm obsessed with Breath of the Wild and have like over 300 hours into it.
So you're like Matt, because I think you're more interested in the idea of it being more of a close prequel to Breath of the Wild. Is that why you're interested?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have Hyrule Warriors. That's the only game I ever rented from Redbox, and I hated it. Like absolutely did not like it at all. It was janky. It was mindless, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. But
because this one looks a little more story driven and built on something other than just, hey, go beat up a bunch of these bad guys, then maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, that and just the graphics I thought were absolutely gorgeous. If Breath of the Wild 2 can pull off that kind of polish graphically, I always assumed they were, I mean, I don't know much about tech. That will be evident by much of the way that I speak, I think, on this podcast. But the way that like that game looked, if Breath of the Wild 2 can pull that off, I always assumed that it was going to work on like the exact same engine as Breath of the Wild 1, and I'm sure it is, but I didn't realize that they could polish that up like that. I mean, it looked absolutely gorgeous. So
yeah, it does look good. It does look good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a whirl.
Yeah, I mean, it all looks great. I am super pumped. Real quick, I wanted to just shout out the developers at Nintendo. The game file size for Super Mario 3D All Stars is 4.8 gigs.
Dude, we've talked about their compression algorithm and how it's like, it's, if you've ever watched Silicon Valley, like somehow
they have access to it. Yeah,
it's so great, man.
They have the Pied Piper algorithm.
I mean, it really is a problem. Like with PlayStation 4, like if you've ever downloaded Red Dead Redemption 2, or in like NBA 2K21, and you have those both on like a basic PS4 system, it's like, okay, everything else, even like my
goodbye
756 megabyte download of Mega Man Classic is like not able to get on the console. So I get really frustrated.
It's really sad. It's really sad
with the file sizes on these like super mega like 4K games.
Yeah, dude. this is making me feel really old though. Looking at these dates, so Mario Sunshine came out in 2002, Mario 64 came out in 96, and Galaxy came out in 2007.
Yes.
Wow.
All of that is correct.
Wow.
Uh,
That is sad. Not
Mario
sad.
60,
It's just like, okay, yep. Those are the dates
yeah,
this
Mario
came out.
64 came out when I was 9, and I mean, people say this all the time, but like the first thing I remember seeing in the grocery store, or not in the grocery store, so I didn't see it in a grocery store, in like the Walmart, was the outside like court scene.
Yep.
But just someone was playing and they were kind of messing around the courtyard and they jumped in the water, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Those water graphics are insane. And
that's a classic,
I mean,
like little kid, like just freak out. We're like, oh my, look at those water graphics.
yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, also that's like the first time anybody in the world had seen 3D graphics like that. And I know PS1 preceded it, but I don't think there was anything with that kind of free movement. And even watching it, you could tell that it was something different and something special.
Oh yeah, dude. So it's finally fitting that like these games are getting a solidified place to exist all next to each other, and newer generations get to experience some of these older ones. Because I mean, really, the only way to play Sunshine is on a GameCube. 64 has been emulated a few times, so it'll be cool to go back to Sunshine. And then Galaxy, I mean, was cross compatible with the Wii U, but no one really had the Wii U. So
yeah,
a lot of these Switch gamers,
and you did apparently. You played 3D World, so
yeah,
we were one of the 13 million. People always say that no one had a Wii U. 13 million people is a lot of people.
Still a lot of people.
But I think it's just the only people who had Wii U were like diehard Nintendo fans.
Yes,
it did not hit the casual market whatsoever.
No, and it's crazy to think that's it for the console, and games like I don't know, Splatoon or something like that, or like hitting like 15 to 20 million units sold already, and it's like, holy crap. So
you can see. I think you can see Nintendo's diehard like following in their software sales, because like right around that Wii U mark, and those people who bought like every first party title, like me and probably you, it's like the same thing for Switch, but then you add another like 5 million onto it, because there's such a huge pool of casual players as well.
Yeah, the attach rate. The attach rate for the Wii U must have been very, very high. Like, anyone that had a Wii U had like 8 games, and they were all like first parties.
It was like notoriously like crazy high, because Nintendo still does well in software, even in the Wii U. It's absurd. It's
like the software is kind of dumb, but the games are still good, so we'll buy them. Man,
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say about it. I'm really excited to see what happens. This is gonna be a big week, honestly, with more PS5 news and this game coming out. I think I'm gonna be pretty busy next weekend. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about the 35th anniversary stuff, or?
No, not that I can think of, man. I'm just really stoked. And I did want to say that, like, all the hate and stuff, like, I don't know. I feel like from somebody who experienced those games, I just really am excited to experience them kind of in their same element.
Yeah.
And they are up-resed, and I would consider them remasters by the definition of a remaster. And like they've doctored up a lot of textures on Super Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Game Explained has done a lot of coverage on like side-by-side comparisons, even with like an HDMI adapter for the N64 that makes it look really crisp. You can tell that Nintendo has gone in and cleaned up a lot of the textures.
Yeah.
But it's clear that was the direction, whether they wanted to or they were, this was a plan B and they were pressed for time. I think it's still, it's going to be great to me. So
yeah,
and I think a lot of fans feel that way as well.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I think it would have been really cool had they had done a bit more with up-resing and actually kind of rebuilding some of the assets of 64. And
I'd love to see a Super Mario 64 remake at some point.
Yeah, hopefully that'll happen eventually, but that'll be way down the road.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I'm super stoked about this. I'm excited to see how this, if your rumors hold up and maybe there is a hidden gem somewhere tucked inside.
Well, let it be known that once again, that was a bold prediction. I don't expect it to come true. I'm just saying I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I could see it coming true.
I like the
And
bold predictions, though.
At the very least, I do expect there to be Super Mario Galaxy 2 DLC.
Yeah. Okay. And that's enough for me because Galaxy 2 is one I didn't play as much of. I played Galaxy 1 all the way through, but Galaxy 2 I watched my buddy play through, so I didn't get to play a lot of that myself. So it'll be a newer experience for me. And then Sunshine, like I said, I'm just super stoked for because the music and just kind of
that's so good.
Just kind of the fun, chill vibe natures of the island and the tropical setting. I'm excited about that.
The incredible voice acting.
Yeah.
It's so bad. That's really like iconically bad. I can't wait to revisit that. I hope they haven't changed a single part of that.
Yeah,
it's worse than the Super Mario Brothers cartoon from the 80s. That's saying a lot.
I'm sure it has not changed in that regard. But maybe the audio has gotten a little bit crisper, so now you can really hear it. Oh man, I can't wait.
I hope so.
Yeah, looking at the screenshots, you can definitely tell like the 64 version has definitely increased in graphical fidelity, but the polygonal structure is still the same.
Yes.
All right. Well, unfortunately, guys, that is the end of our podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone that tuned in live, Dex1 to the Rex, thank you so much for tuning in and saying what's up. Landry, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It was great having you.
Always a pleasure, man.
I think, unfortunately, there's a slight delay on the live version, so we'll probably have to go with our hard-recorded version when we actually put it on podcast services out there. But this was a fun little test run, and we'll probably get a little bit better as we go along. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, or if you want to see us go live again next time on Facebook as well. Send emails for topic suggestions to bitcast@bitbloggist.com. And until next time, this has been BitCast. Thanks for tuning in to talk about some stuff.